Hello everybody, this is Lila in Hawaii. It's a quiet day today, just the birds chirping outside. I'm making a cottage style tote, and this is the front of it. The back will be that. I had some chintz. So this is just some chintz surrounded by, the woman is surrounded by some pretty pieces of old doily, and I did layer a couple of them like so. They're two together. And also I scrunched up some of them. I'm going to add a few buttons and so forth to decorate it a little bit further. But for this video, I'm just going to show you my quick way of lining a tote. It's kind of nice. I know a lot of totes are not lined, but this one I'm going to line because the fabric, it's not flimsy, but I think it'll just look nicer. So first of all, I have cut out the front and the back, sewed them together at the bottom. So that's the first thing, sewed together like that at the bottom. And I have pressed the seam open. Now for the lining, I took the same size piece and I sewed that as well to the top of the front. And you see I've got a piece there, and then a pocket. It's an extra, so I put a little pocket across there, and then the other end is sewn to the top also of the front. Now turn it inside out. So you've got basically a big circle. So turn that inside out, and then simply just matching the seams and sewing. So the first thing is find the lining. I always do that, sort of where the lining and the main part meet is, let's see, there, right there, and put a pin. That sort of holds that in place. And I am going to leave a gap in the lining so that it can be turned inside out, of course. And then on the other side as well, I meant to press that open, but I can do that later. So match those up together. There we go. So now I have the two correct sides or right sides facing, and I have the two lining sides facing. And I'm going to sew down both sides, leaving a gap in the lining on one side. So this is right where I'm going to start. And I'm back stitching every time I start these seams. And I think I probably need to bring the camera. Not that it's very interesting watching someone sew seams. Anyhow, that's the first thing I'm going to do, is just make sure that everything meets correctly. Now you could do this on the serger, and often I do it on the serger. However, this time, no, I'm not doing it on the serger. So I'm going right down, and this is the side I'm going to leave an opening, and I'm going to do it just below where I did that pocket, because I put a pocket on the inside. And then I go down here and just do a little bit more, like about an inch at the bottom. Okay. And then repeat on the other side. So I've done one side. I'm going to back stitch the top. This is the two right sides facing. In other words, the embellished sides. And I know I've got a doily in there. Don't really want to catch in the side seam. So I'm going to push that out of the way. Taking out the last pin. I just needed two pins just to hold those together right there. So now I'm sewing the two linings together. on the other side. Next thing is to box the corners. And if I can find the area where I left open, I usually put my hand inside if I can. Okay, it must be this side. Where did I leave it open? Here it is. So I put my hand inside so I can match the bottom seam and the side seam. And I'm going to open up those. Okay, let's see. This is the tricky part. I'm going to do that. And I think I'm just going to put a pin because it's a little goofy because I have the doilies inside too. Now this is the right sides of the fabric. Okay, so I'm turning it over and I'm going to get a ruler and I'm going to measure 2 inches across. 2 inches. Now I could go ahead and mark it. Maybe that might be easier. And then I go and sew where I marked, so it's 2 inches. And I am going to clip off those corners. You can leave them if you feel you need that extra weight there, but I don't. So that one's clipped off. And this one's clipped off. It's very thick fabric at this point. And then, of course, I'm going to repeat on the bottoms of the lining. However, right now I'm not going to do that because of time commitment. I don't want to make this too long. So I'm going to turn it inside out and see what we have right now. Turning it all in. And you understand, I'm sure that I will do the same on the lining before I sew up the hole that I've left. Okay, so that's done, that part of it. And it comes out, of course, inside out. So now the next thing is to just turn it the right way. Okay. So there we are on the bottom, the box bottoms. I find that 2 inches is about right for everything, so I use that as a rule of thumb. Okay, so here we go. That's that part of it. So that's 30 inches. And then I cut another piece of fabric for the piping and the lining of it. And that is the same length, but it is wider. And if I put this here, I can show you how much wider it is. And it's going to be about 1.25 inches wider. Usually I leave it about 1 inch. Next thing to do is to sew those right sides together along one side. Okay. So I'm just sewing right sides together, and you'll notice, or you may not be able to see, that one side, the side of the lining, is much bigger. I'm going to make it into a piping, and I'm just sewing a foot, press a foot width. If I'd had a darker color fabric to make the piping. That might have been nice. This is going to be very pale, but it does have that Cottage Laura Ashley or shabby chic look that I wanted. Okay, so now I've done that. It's one side, and you'll notice that this is much bigger, so now I have to meet these two together. I put interfacing on the smaller piece, by the way. Iron-on interfacing, non-woven. Okay, so if I can start it going. Take some muscles. Okay, so that much is done. Now the next thing is, of course, to iron it, and this is going to be the pipe side, and this, in other words, this is going to be the right side. Okay, so there it is, finished. The boxed corners. She's going to have a few, perhaps along the top, some buttons. A couple of buttons maybe on this. I'll just use, I think, just bone white buttons. And there's the nice piped handle.